A very good evening to you. Thank you for staying with TV3. This is News at 10. It is live from our studio here at Adesawe in Accra. I am Martin Asiedudate. Coming up tonight, the Ghana Oil Company, that is GOIL, has suspended its membership from the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, issuing a stern statement that the company is not manipulated by government. This was after the Association of Oil Marketing Companies demanded immediate withdrawal of the directive by government for GOIL to reduce prices at the pumps. But what are the implications of such a decision for the sector? We'll be exploring that particular statement and the arms and legs growing out of this particular conversation shortly. We'll also bring you news making rounds around the world. Before that, here are highlights of today's big stories.
10 Headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Superfix Tile Cement.
President Akufo-Addo has reiterated ECOWAS's resolve to restore democracy to Mali and Guinea. He was speaking at this year's Kofi Annan Peace and Security Forum in Accra.
I'll hand over power to the next elected president on 7th January 2025. And I will rally my fellow ECOWAS heads of state to take the pledge and support them as they continue to work towards democracy and good governance in their respective countries.
An Accra Magistrate Court has issued a bench warrant for the arrest of the Member of Parliament for Inshaiso, Stephen Amoah, and one Samuel Enim. The two were among some 7 persons arrested for road traffic offences on Wednesday, December 8. Some security experts have described as unethical and unprofessional the payment of 800 cedis for medical examination by applicants to some security services. According to them, it is a complete rip-off of the unemployed youth seeking to serve their country.
Why do you have to let people pay, to even be considered in the first place, knowing full well that over 90% of the applicants will not get the job? Those monies that have been taken already should be given back to them as a matter of principle.
It would have been nice for government to provide enough for them to absorb the cost, because the young men and women in this country are suffering. If you provide them with free opportunity to access a job, and if you are lucky and you are picked, fine. If you are not lucky or you are not competent enough to be picked, fine. But you spend a lot of money, yet there is no hope. It also causes another frustration.
With the quest to reduce the mortality rate and curb COVID-19 spread, more organizations, corporate bodies and institutions are adopting mandatory vaccination to compel staff to take the jab. TV3 can confirm the phenomenon is gradually gaining grounds here in Ghana. We're delving straight into our first story now. The Ghana Oil Company, GOIL, has suspended its membership from the Association of Oil Marketing Companies. In a statement cited by TV3 Business to the AOMCs, that's the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, GOIL has also rejected claims of government interference in petroleum downstream market. GOIL says the 15 peso reduction in the price of their petroleum products was in line with their own pricing policy and not a government directive as suggested in earlier reports. This follows claims by the Association of Oil Marketing Companies of government interference of the company. The AOMCs had earlier in a statement requested government to withdraw the 15 peso reduction directive that was given to GOIL and desist from interfering in the deregulation regime. And that's what has generated some kind of back and forth between the AOMCs and GOIL, and we would want to pursue this particular issue a bit further. So earlier, the Association of Oil Marketing Companies demanded the immediate withdrawal of a government directive asking GOIL to reduce fuel prices at the pump. And government on Monday asked the Ghana Oil Company, that is GOIL, to review prices of petroleum products. The move was intended to appease aggrieved private commercial transport operators who who had declared an indefinite strike over high fuel prices. But the Association of OMCs, in a statement signed by the industry coordinator, Kwekwaji Mandia, said the directive must be withdrawn. It added that if government cannot do so, then it must immediately halt the regulation process and revert to the regulation regime, the deregulation process, and rather revert to the regulation regime. So if you read the statement from GOIL, which is in response to what the AOMCs released earlier, they are saying that earlier they had reduced fuel prices or their products by 14 pesos. So this current 15 peso reduction is in line with their systems and how they have operated, and it has nothing to do with government's directive. An oil and gas expert, Dr. Suleiman Brahima, says until OMCs agree to keep their price margins low, the downstream petroleum market will continue to experience challenges. He also wants government to take a second look at the taxes in the 2022 budget, as this will help stabilize the market.
OMCs will be ready to keep down their margins or to keep their margins as it is. Then government will have, the flexibility of reducing the taxes. But if government is not assured of tax reduction by the OMCs that they will keep their margins as it is, then it will come back to the same thing, where government will reduce taxes and OMC will increase margins, and then the status quo will say the same thing. What we told is that the market is really regulated. That is legitimate, but how much margins and levies, we're going to add onto the price build-up, will highly be dependent on the international market. So I expect that if the international market is not going up or it gets stabilized, and then the exchange rate also gets stabilized, I don't think when government reduces taxes, OMC should go up with their margins.
This is still News at 10 on TV3. We are going to explore this issue a bit longer because it seems to have generated some disquiet or confrontation between GOIL and the Association of Oil Marketing Companies. GOIL, in the last statement they released, indicated that they are withdrawing or suspending their membership of being a member of the oil marketing companies, the association. So we are keeping an eye on that, and then subsequently find out from them what exactly does that even mean for those of us who are regular consumers, or those who are at the end of this chain, those of us who go out there to buy fuel. Let's speak to Duncan Amoah. He's the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Mr. Amoah, good evening, if you can hear me. We seem to not to have Duncan Amoah. He is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, and they have actually been following this particular development in the last few years. In fact, they were part of the transport owners who are asking government to review and reconsider the price build-up of petroleum products in the country, and are saying that the increment since the beginning of the year till now is having quite the impact on their business, and they want government to consider. So on Tuesday, when that meeting was held between the commercial operators, transport operators and government, we were told that they were given, GOIL was told, that is according to the operators, to reduce their products by some 15 pesos. Duncan Amoah, good evening, if you can hear me.
Martin, good evening to your viewers.
Great. Thanks for joining us. To start with, what do you make of the back and forth between GOIL and the Association of Oil Marketing Companies? We are told that government, and in this case, we do not know who specifically in government. In fact, we were told it was the president that told GOIL to review its price and take off 15 pesos. But GOIL is saying that they run their own business and they have no interference or influence from government. From where you sit, how does this play out for you?
Well, Martin, this is clearly one of miscommunication probably. If you read the GOIL release or rejoinder that they sent to the AOMC, following from what they had put together earlier, requesting that whatever directive that was that indicated they should reduce the prices should be reversed and redrawn. I think what we all got from the outset of this whole drama was when the drivers had done this strike thing, and then we're told the chief of staff intervened and said the president wanted to meet with them. Now, these guys go for a meeting with the chief of staff and supposedly other government officials, get out, and the first thing you hear out there is a communication to that effect that GOIL has been told to reduce fuel prices. And so if you recall yesterday, we at COPEC were even worried about the effect, the economic effect of this directive, if it really is that GOIL was actually going to lose about 9 million Ghana cedis for a month if this directive is not from them, but it's coming from a certain political source or a certain power source. Today, we had some interaction with GOIL, and they insisted that they were already in the process of getting these reductions effected, because if you check the past 2-week window, you would realize prices had slightly. For petrol, it had done about 20. For diesel, you were doing about 12 to 14 dollars on there. So they were in the process of effecting the change. If you speak to the other OMCs, you also get the excuse that the cedi is relatively not stable and still depreciating, and for which reason, although there's been some reduction, they cannot pass it on at the pump. So there's a bit of miscommunication, there's misunderstanding. I am quite certain if you read the GOIL rejoinder again, the impression they got was that the association of which they are a member of would have served a larger good if they had consulted or asked of them, but without recourse to what the true story was, the association probably took a false leap. But I would not blame the AOMC, because as of Monday evening, I was on another network with even the chairperson for Parliamentary Committee on Transport.
Right.
And the impression he created is that the government has directed GOIL to reduce their prices. And so that is what everybody would have gone home with. So I don't get surprised the AOMC also went on that tangent. But if you listen to GOIL, this was simply something coming out of their own boardroom, and not because somebody somewhere had issued a directive which they were complying with.
It's a pretty interesting, the way coincidence, I should say, the fact that there was that meeting by the commercial transport owners and government, then the directive came right that evening, or were told that the reduction was to take effect the next morning by GOIL. As to whether it came from the presidency or government, for that matter, we did not know and cannot ascertain that. But GOIL is saying that earlier they reduced it by some 14 pesos, and it is this. So this 15 peso reduction is their own decision, like you're saying. So how then does this play out between them and the AOMC? And would you advise that maybe they reconsider their suspension of their membership?
Well, Martin, you take it very good when you go back to the earlier 14 peso reduction. That is the crack where the issues really emanate. At the 14 peso reduction, certain government functionaries were also out there insisting that they have also asked GOIL to even reduce fuel prices, and GOIL had reduced prices. And so for us, yesterday or Monday reduction was beginning to sound as though certain political hands were now directing GOIL on what to do with their prices. And so we were not surprised that the association also went the route it did. But clearly, if GOIL had clarified earlier when the 14 peso reduction came, that these are reductions coming from their own boardrooms, because as the price deregulation demands, every fortnight you reevaluate your pricing, and where they have to go up, you go up. Where you have to go down, you go down. So if that was following from their own boardroom, decision, it should have been properly communicated. But the political communicators also get in the middle, and then they take credit when it comes down, and sometimes some of these mishaps would happen. I'm sure the association and GOIL will take it, will sit and trash these issues out
resolve the
so
issues.
that going forward, these miscommunications do not recur. Martin.
Thank you. Duncan Amo, as always, he's Executive Secretary of COPEC. This is News at 10 on TV3. Stay with us. We have more for you after this break.
I'm going to interview Zuzum right here in my house. Hey!
Look up there. Why are you using inferior pen?
It was a mistake. I no check.
Acrobat 2. I'm going to knock you out.
I know, sir.
You deserve quality.
Don't make mistakes. Stop!
You did the right thing.
When you're going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury acrylic paint. No be any painting be painted.
The luxury acrylic paint.
Paint champion.
It was HUS 10 for the Employee of the Quarter Award. Dubai was calling. Oh, and she almost forgot we are still in a pandemic. So she called asking me where to access a COVID test within hours of her surprise trip. She was surprised I got my results within 12 hours just before my last trip outside. Landbill Laboratory and Diagnostic Center is the place. Unmatched quality service and professionalism with a very friendly, hospitable staff atmosphere. 8 hours later, the email came with her results. Now, you know where to go for a COVID-19 urgent test for your next trip out. They are the most efficient I know of. Landbill Laboratory and Diagnostic Center. Results in 12 hours or less.
Thinking about constructing offices, a house, shop or multi-purpose building, build faster and cheaper with prefabricated building from Y&W Industry Limited. Take a look at these samples. 2-bedroom apartment with living area, shared toilets, bath and kitchen. Office space has working room, meeting area and washroom. Our prefab buildings can also be used for schools, factories, high-rise buildings or any purpose desired. The structure is made of hot-dip galvanized pipes with cement fiberboard walls, heat and sound insulated resin roofing sheets, special security doors, UPVC window, all from Y&W Industry. Major components are produced in the factory and assembled on site. Lifespan is 50 years, and so say bye to chasing masons and carpenters. Locate us on Accra Kaswa Highway opposite ECG transformer before the toll booth, and in Marble House Yard, South Industrial Area, adjacent Zenith Bank, or call 054-698-3633. Or visit us at www.ywindustry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at YWIndustrygH.
Franco Trading Enterprise. Phone papa fie and a half. Franco say what musu friend. Moi mon prix TVs aya papa. TV aya smart. TV aya 4K. Essentially Android. Wakako Fabia Premo. Sawo pet 32 inches TV. And also 40 and now 43. Yago Casapa a 55 inches a Android and essentially 4K. Umpe na dia na open. Franco Trading Enterprise. Phone papa any TV papa fie and
printers, pen drives, memory cards, hard drive, earpiece, chargers, phone cards.
What do you get when you mix extracts of African herbs and fruits with alcohol? You get Origin Bitters, 100% natural African herbs and fruits. Origin Bitters, original taste, original bitters. Also available in ready to drink. A blend of herbs, fruits and alcohol with no artificial sweeteners.
What's your take on an ideal guy?
I'm attracted to sapiosexuals.
Oh, sapiosexuals. Cool.
The smart guy.
See, I am one.
What's your take for the constitutional review?
See, they are really disturbing. They are worrying. Review, constitutional review. The call for a constitutional review is not a bad call.
Really?
At all. Especially in the light of the fact that some laws have outlived their usefulness.
It was just gentlemen. I think Afena-Gyan.
Afena-Gyan. Who doesn't know Afena-Gyan? Excellent footballer. Dangerous. Tactical.
There's this show on TV. It's a music show. Mentor.
I like Mentor. See, my family watches Mentor. Everybody. Hey, see, everywhere. Mentor.
Where edition?
Eh?
Where edition?
Mentor's gonna take you higher.
Don't be clueless. Stay on top of issues with 3news.com and tune in to Media General's radio platforms on the go using 3news.com.
Welcome back to News at 10 on TV3. Let's do politics. Now, the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, has restated its position to oppose the E-Levy in the 2022 budget. According to the NDC, the 2022 budget referred to by the party as the Ewudie budget is only an avenue to increase borrowing. My colleague Judith Awochitando reports.
As the Lord liveth, none of our 137 MPs will even support 0.00001% E-Levy.
The NDC has reiterated its resolve to ensure that its MPs continue to oppose the 2022 budget. While speaking at a public forum organized by the party, General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, explained that the party will not relent in its efforts to ensure that the right things are done.
We still stand firmly by our initial position. If they are able to bulldoze it through, we have agreed with our members of parliament that boycott is not an option. Because if we boycott, what it means is that all these other stages will be railroaded.
Member of the Finance Committee in Parliament, Isaac Adongo, further revealed at the forum that Ghana was the worst performing country in all of West Africa in terms of public debt.
Since 2017, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would have spent 530 billion Ghana cedis. Not even 10% of that can be found in the flagship programs. So in 2017, when they took 51 billion, they spent only 2 billion on flagship programs.
In effect, the party is calling for an expansion in production, which will in turn raise revenue, cut borrowing, as well as the collection of taxes. Judith Awachretando, TV3 News, Accra.
A former Deputy Trades Minister and Chairman of the Trade and Tourism Committee of Parliament has asked those who do not want to pay the 1.75 E-Levy to stop mobile money transactions. The Tema West MP Carlos Ahinkra says the propaganda against the E-Levy for political expediency is nauseating. He spoke exclusively to Komla Kluche.
Human being, I would say, or no person likes to pay tax. In fact, it is a known fact that taxes are generally abhorred by people who are supposed to pay them. So what is happening is quite understandable. But to the extent that it's been used to gain some political points or it's been done for political expediency, for me, it's very unfortunate.
The concern is about the charges, and if it's one of the means, or if it's one of the means to which the money would be charged on, then maybe the option to Ghanaians would be to stop the using. Would you advise them to stop using it?
I'll tell you something. I've always been saying that the Momo tax is not a compulsory tax. You only pay when you use it. If you don't use it, you don't pay. So for me, there is no way any other procedure for making payments is going to equal Momo. Right now, what we are saying is the tax is targeted at those who have the ability to pay, not those who are receiving. If you are receiving, it's okay to go and negotiate with a person who has gone to the bank to borrow money and be a Momo agent to pay money out. Otherwise, keep the money on your phone and you don't pay nobody any money. And it is money targeted at those who want to use the service. Even if I stand here and tell people that, look, if you like, don't pay, or if you like, don't use Momo, I tell you, using Momo will be far cheaper. If you think using the Momo service is difficult or expensive, you try taking your money out there and even see whether you lose some money on the way.
And that's Carlos Ahenkra for you. Let's move on to other parts of the world to find out what's happening elsewhere. Whereas some countries are praying not to record even a third or a second wave, France has recorded a fifth wave of COVID infections and has not yet peaked. And so a fourth vaccine shot might be needed to help keep things under control, officials have warned. It's still spreading quickly and will continue so in the coming weeks, government spokesperson Gabriel Attai has said. Meanwhile, government advisor Jean-Francois Delfrézy said, for now, there's a call for one booster shot, and will that be enough? That's a question he asked. I do not know. Maybe we'll need a fourth shot. The COVID crisis is the biggest challenge facing the country. That's Germany's new Chancellor Olaf Scholz has said. After formally taking power from Angela Merkel following her historic 16 years as leader, Scholz acknowledged that he had taken control of Europe's largest economy in the middle of an aggressive fourth wave of COVID infections. Quote, we know that the transition that we are making here now is taking place in the middle of a large ongoing crisis that calls for continuity and community, and I think we will manage that, he said in Berlin. And that's how we bring the bulletin to a close. Thank you very much for sharing your 30 minutes with us. I am Martin Esiedu Data. There is more news on our website, 3news.com. Do have a good evening, and as always, stay positive. Merry Christmas.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental